and when she didn't, I was able to ask her some more clarifying questions and what would be the consequences of that. And so she was talking instead of me talking, which was good. Thank you.
Well, where did that come from?
That was loud in my earbud.
Oh, well, that Bluetooth stuff, if it doesn't fry your brain, the sounds coming out of my computer will. What else? Juanice joined the training. Proud of you, brother. What else, y'all? Let's go, you guys. Like, I'm not moving forward until you guys start training your brain to find the good in your life. I could sit here all day. Like, literally, I have a biohacking device. I'm going to put it in my nostrils right now. I'm going to turn it on. I'm just going to breathe this like pure, clear, clean, supercharged air to help me, like, I don't know, live forever. I'm actually 97, so actually listen to what my clients, instead of waiting for them to stop so I can, what do you mean? Tell me what you mean by that.
So what I mean is, I think piggyback on what Jill said, actually listening to what they tell me instead of just me waiting for the next question, or like going from what they tell me and expanding on that and just asking more questions for them to clarify. And I've noticed that I've been doing that a lot with other agents I've been working with, or that I'm putting offers in. I get to actually know them as people, and they kind of like me a little bit better and trust me more, which essentially could hopefully get me a win on the offers I submitted yesterday.
So by you having a better relationship with the agent, it helped you win the offer? Hopefully.
I don't know yet. I will know today.
Okay. I'm going to make it loud for you guys. So I'm just telling you, better close those eardrums. I warned you. Tiffany booked in an appointment with a new buyer. So here's the thing. Everything we do on the front prevents objections on the back. Objections are inevitable. They're inevitable. But the more you learn how to communicate, the more you don't get the same standard objections, and the more people trust what you say because you've handled it differently than most agents handle things, or how you might have handled them in the past. And you know what's really cool is when you start learning how to listen consciously, right? Conscious communication is conscious listening, conscious tonality, right? Consciously talking to yourselves. Because some of the stuff that you all say to yourselves is messed up, considering the fact that only 3 or 4 of you put a win in the chat. Some of you are scanning your brains for that win. Oh, the win. How about you got your ass up out of bed this morning and you showed up to the call? That's a win. But we're always looking for the grand slam. And if you're only looking for the big things, guess what? Universe, God, source, whatever funky name you want to give is not going to give it to you. Because it's like, well, you don't appreciate the little thing, so why am I going to give you a big thing that you're not going to appreciate? The way you talk to yourself is so mean. Why am I going to give you something amazing when you keep putting yourself down and the people around you? Self-talk isn't just like this hoop-dee-dee-doop-dee-dee. It's actually the truth. The way we work in this world that we're going into, right? We're 10 days into Post Nar, right? What have you guys seen so far in the marketplace? Throw it in the chat. What have you guys been seeing in the marketplace? What have you been hearing in the marketplace? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What are your fellow agents saying? What's the memes on Instagram? Hey, you guys, you know how many people I had to unfriend, mute because the crap is just so crazy? So far, it's easy to negotiate your compensation. Okay. That's a win, Becca. That's a win. That's a win. You guys see? That's a win. The public has no idea what's happening and they would have no idea except for realtors keep posting dumb stuff left and right. Y'all are just dumb. Not you guys, realtors. Y'all are dumb posting shit. It's not funny. It's not cute. Like, the consumer doesn't care. Other agents are explaining the changes to people. What do you mean by that, Phil? Expand. Agents are freaking out. Yeah, and they should be. If I was an agent, an average agent, I'd be freaking out too, because most agents, the stuff they said pre-NAR sucked, which is why we are in the NAR, and the stuff they're going to say post-NAR is only going to be 1,000% worse because they have no idea what to say.
You want me to explain?
Yeah, go for it.
No, what I was saying is that, so I got a call from a contractor buddy of mine.
Yep.
His cousin just got off the phone with a buyer's agent, and they were told that it was a 3 to 5% commission that they'd have to pay. And my buddy called me. It's like, dude, what's the deal? Is that for real? No, we're not. And I explained it.
Just take the phone and just take the phone off.
Cousin of his was being misguided, so I had an opportunity to get him on the phone and we three-way, and I.
Whoa, you guys, hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Are you telling me that agents are saying dumb stuff out there, Phil? Oh my gosh. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that winging it was going to get your asses in trouble? Who would have ever thought that creating a system and a process would be the right way? Who would have thought? I can't believe it. So that's a win, y'all, that agents don't know what they're saying. That's a huge opportunity, right? That's a huge opportunity. There is no set commission. Y'all know when the last time 6% was given out regularly, 6% or more? Do you know when the last time that was as a full year? That is where the average commission was. Just throw in the chat. What do y'all think?
You posted on this. I think was it 2008 is what I guess.
Put in the chat. Guess. Humor me. Guess. Jill, you're crazy. That's a crazy guess. 1992. I've never had a year where we had a 6% average commission across the board on listings or buyers. Never. And you know what? I've looked at thousands of commission statements. My old company used to give us an end of the year statement. They used to give us these things called CDs. Like, I was like, where the fudge am I going to put that at? Like, what am I got this? I still got the CDs in storage, right? I still got my CDs, my transaction history CDs. I'm like, y'all ever heard of a USB drive? Like, come on, you guys are killing me here. Like, who's got a CD player? 2014 getting CDs. That just tells you how old that brokerage was. And so I looked at my friends, right? Yeah. Everybody wants to compare. Single one of them, not a single one of them was 3% across the board on either side of the transaction. Not a single one of them. And you know what's funny? Some of those people used to speak at meetings. We would never work less than 3%. And I raised my hand. I'd be like, and they wouldn't call me. I raised my hand. I obnoxiously raised my hand. Stand up on tables, take off my clothes, and they still wouldn't call on me. Nobody gets 3% across the board. But yet people talk about it. 1992, just so you know. So every time you go onto stage and you hear people say, well, that's just the norm, bullshit. And if we don't call BS, let me tell you, it's crazy. We had some great years in real estate. We made a lot of money in real estate. 100K months, 180K months, right? I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you. We sold $50,000 properties all the way up to $4.5 million properties. Some of the commissions we got bonuses on, some of the commissions we didn't. If you go in there, right? And I'm just going to put this out there. Y'all can hate me or love me. I don't really care. Let's say your presentation isn't very good right now. Let's say your systems and processes are not very good right now. Let's say your confidence level is a 6 out of 10. And I've said this before. Do you deserve to get I'll give you guys a big name. Sharon. Sharon walks into a buyer presentation and you walk in after Sharon. Do you think Sharon has more experience buying, selling, and the process, the transactions, and the whole shebang? If you walk in there afterwards and they're like, well, we really like you, but the other guy that walked in and you see Sharon leaving, right, in his Tesla, you see him leaving and you're like, oh crap. They're like, but we really like you. We really like you. We would work with you actually, because we feel like we're going to get better attention from you. Because the other guy, even though he was great, he seems a little busy. And they say, what's your fee? And you say, what was the other guy's fee? He has a flat fee of $20K. And you go, well, mine's 25. And they go, where'd you get that number from? And you said, well, I heard on the news that I should be charging 3%. And so you're looking at an $850,000 house. So that's about $25,000 minimum fee. They're like, yeah, but you're like 2 years in. The other guy's done like 10,000 transactions. They say, are you willing to negotiate? And you say, no, I'm not willing to negotiate. This is my fee and it is what it is. And you lose that opportunity because you heard on some stage somebody say something stupid that they don't even probably do themselves. And you lose that opportunity to build a relationship, to help them buy a home, to help them possibly sell a home, to get all their referrals, to work on your systems, to work on your processes, to work on your confidence, to put some fucking money in some of our pockets. Because let's be honest, some of us have had a tough year. And we say, no, we're not going to do it. And then they end up using somebody who has more experience that they felt was worth the extra 5 or 6, 7, 8,000, 1%, 0.5%, whatever it is that they end up doing. You'll never know what they charged. You'll never know what they charge, but here's what you'll never get the opportunity to do. Actually build a relationship and get better. I'll tell you, there's a lot of agents out there in this world that probably don't even deserve to get paid because they're still in the apprenticeship model. They haven't graduated yet with the right systems and processes and skills. Be very careful who you take advice from. I'll show you guys all my books. I've been rich and I've been poor. Poor very recently. Rich a little bit farther back, but I can still taste it. If you go into this model thinking that everything's the same, you're going to get yourself into a little bit of trouble because you're not going to give yourself the opportunities to get better. You do probably need to have a minimum standard commission that you charge, right? I don't know what you guys are charging, but there probably needs to be a minimum floor. You probably should work with an attorney because what you put on paper in many states is the max you can get paid regardless of what the seller says. So you should probably talk to your attorneys. You should probably talk to your broker about specific language so that you don't get yourself in trouble by setting a floor. Let's say you set a 10K floor, but the seller was willing to pay 20 grand. You just lost 10 grand. When you go into negotiations, go in guns blazing. Let the seller, right, negotiate against themselves. Don't you negotiate against yourself. I would figure out a way to write language into my purchase to my buyer agency agreement, right? I would find a way to write language in there to make sure that I set a floor, but I don't cap myself with the ceiling at the floor. Don't ask me how to do it, but that's what I would be trying to figure out. How do I set a floor that's also not my ceiling so that I get a minimum, but I don't kill myself only there? Entiendo? Yes, Mr. Phil.
Yeah, so along that line, actually, that's something that I was really wondering technically, like, I know you said you don't know how to do that.
I don't.
Do you, like, I have heard that we cannot increase, just like you just mentioned, right?
Yep.
However, like, I had a conversation with somebody today or yesterday, and I told them, look, listen, typically, it's 2.5%, and, we can.
So it's not typically. So let's get very clear on our language.
I said typically I charge.
Okay. Very clear on language, everybody. If we do not stay clear on language, Michael Schumacher is going to come and freaking try to put your asses in jail. So be very, very specific with language. So what I normally would charge is around 2 to 3%, or kind of what we've been falling on lately is around 2.5%. Something like that. Be very specific.
Okay.
Continue.
So I said, typically I would charge around 2.5%.
Right.
And I was, because of the lack of experience and how new everything is, I told them straight up, like, the way we approach it is, okay, this is all the different ways, the 4 different ways that we can get that 2.5% paid once the transaction's done. Gave them that explanation, and I said, you know what? One thing that we can't do is, let's say, if we write in 2% on our agreement, and that seller is going to pay 2.5%, we can't increase it. So let's go ahead and get it done for 2.5% on paper on our agreement. And because you're a referral from XYZ person, and I appreciate your, like how tight things are for you, I will just give you my word.
Do you really appreciate how tight things are for him, Phil?
What's that?
Do you really appreciate how things are so tight for him?
I do, in the sense that they were. Okay, can I finish?
Yep.
All right. So then I said, if we need to bring it down to 2% because the seller's not willing to.
So this is all verbal, though.
This is all verbal.
Okay.
Because of the fact that I didn't know what is.
Yeah.
Legal.
So what you all need to do, right? What you all need to do is you need to go talk to your brokers, and you need to talk to legal, right? Because at the end of the day, like, I ain't signing that shit. Like, dude, I like you, Phil, but at the end of the day, what I sign is what I sign, because I forget what I say. So like, any of you guys that get an agreement from me, if I don't have it on paper, I don't remember. I make all sorts of crazy promises to people, but I instantly put it into my contracts and my agreements, because if it's not there and it's not written, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. So my original question was, so what I did is I did agree to do the 2% if there's no contribution from the seller.
Sure.
And my question to you was, is one, you already said you didn't know if the language,
Legal.
what the legal language was, but two, I heard that we can't amend up, but I didn't see anything that says we can't amend down.
Legal, guys.
We can.
You guys, legal. This isn't this isn't the space nor the place for that. That's a legal question, so I'm not going to get into it. I don't know, but what I'm telling you is what I would do only. I would be talking to my legal counsel 4 weeks ago about this. And so you guys should be talking to your legal counsel right now about this. I would have already had a plan in place. But let's say that, Phil, you got an objection from the guy, because that's what this is about today. Let's say the guy gave you an objection. What kind of an objection would you guys get around that? What kind of objection? Like, I could tell you the objection that I would give you around that, but let's see what kind of objection that you could get around that.
What objection do you want to throw? That you're not happy to, or you're not comfortable writing that?
Well, the first objection I would give you is, well, if it's not in writing, how do I know you're going to hold up to it?
I'll tell you, hey, that's not a problem. I'm gonna find out about legal verbiage that I can put on the contract, but in
Yeah.
the meantime, I'll go ahead and text it to you. And, this way we have it in writing between us as an agreement. And then once I find the legal, verbiage that I can add, we can add it onto the contract.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Like, thank you for doing that. I still don't feel comfortable because what I'm signing outweighs the text messaging. Because this is a legal binding contract, and a text message is, like, sure, we could take it to court and this, that, and the other, but like, I don't want to have to take something to court to get my money or to not have to pay you something. So why don't you do this? Like, why don't you figure out what you can do and then come back to me and we can talk then? Because you're dealing with smart people, savvy people, Indian people.
This guy was not Indian.
Lucky you.
No, so, the other thing I would do if that was end all be all, just to walk away with the agreement signed, I'd just do it for 2%.
So do you,
It's gonna make him comfortable.
so do you see how we're starting to set our floor? Right?
Yeah.
Do you guys see how we're starting to set our floor, which is also our ceiling?
But why not walk away with at least that an agreement, and then the caveat that I would ask them, like, listen.
I'm not angry at that. I'm not mad at
I
that.
would say, hey, listen, if it makes you comfortable,
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and sign it for 2%.
But now once it's signed, he's like, I'm not going to mend it up later on down the road.
Well, why not even ask, say, hey, but if you're okay with the strategy that I explained earlier,
Mm-hmm.
then I find that verbiage, and if we need to, can we amend what we have?
Well, I guess.
In line with that strategy that I.
So, hey, help me out, you guys. What happens if, so ultimately, like, at the end of the day, if I agree to that and the seller says, fine, I'll contribute, why wouldn't I just ask for a 0.5% discount on the price? So I could pay less.
That there's a lot of different ways that we can do that.
Yeah. So like, why would I want to pay, like, no offense, but 2% on $1 million, I think 20 grand's fair. Why wouldn't I just want to ask the seller to amend their price point for me instead of paying you an additional, $5 grand?
Because I'm that valuable.
What if a seller says that to you guys? What if a buyer says that to you? What are you going to say?
How would I be paid then?
Well, you got 2%. You already agreed that you would sign it for 2%. And if you can't figure out the legalities, right? So you said, I'd rather get a 2% now versus the hopes of a 2.5 down the road. I'm not going to come back and say, well, I'm going to just throw out a 3% at you. Right. So that particular deal, you're probably going to be a 2%er, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. You guys, 2% is still good money. 2 to 2.5%.
I put that option out there because they're a referral, because it's through someone I knew.
What if they weren't a referral? What if it was a guy you met at an open house online on Zillow and he said the same thing?
I think I've approached it slightly different.
How come?
I do a lot more digging to figure out where I can position myself with him. Off the bat, this was somebody who came in on a personal route, and I knew their situation right off the bat. So it was kind of quick to the chase, I guess.
Hey, can I say something?
Well, you just did, Jill. I guess you can't.
Okay. So I feel like we have to know our value going in, because our value is what our value is. It doesn't change from 1 minute to the next.
So have you ever taken a listing? Have you ever taken a listing under 3 or 4 or 5 or 6%.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we may not change. Now with the buyers, I mean, what I am doing, I'm actually doing two different, well, I'm giving them an option. So here we go. They have, you can't really see it,
No.
sorry. They have a menu of services that they can choose.
Okay.
What commission based on the level of work I'm doing. Now in my area, new construction is 3%. So new construction got written in under the 3% because I know that those buyers or sellers are going to give you that no matter what.
Okay.
And I explained that to my buyer.
Okay.
With new
So
construction.
when you talk about a menu, what are you taking out for a cheaper fee?
2.5 is my lowest. So I got 2.5, 3, and 4%.
Okay. What are you adding in for 4%?
Well, I am doing direct marketing to find sellers that are not on the market yet that meet their specific needs. So I'm actually sending out letters in neighborhoods and places if the buyers want to buy. If we can't find what they want on the MLS, to try to find a home for them that's not on the market yet.
So you're trying to
So
find.
it's an additional monies, and I'm spending those monies.
So you're trying to find sellers, the seller, not the home. That have.
We're trying to find the home.
You're trying to find this. So in the seller's universe, right? So when we look at the buyer presentation inside of the seller universe, that's one of the quadrants we talk about, right? So one of the quadrants we talk about is it's not about finding. Most everyday average agents talk about the home, but we talk about finding the seller that has the home that might not be on the market yet. Right. So that's something that we normally do anyways, because, you know, the more buyers and sellers we have that are ready to buy and sell, because a seller doesn't want a marketing plan. A seller wants a what?
They want a buyer.
I want a buyer. So when you bring buyers to a listing presentation, do you see how you set yourself apart? A buyer doesn't care about a lot of things. A buyer wants what? They want a home that they can buy, which means we as the agents have to find the seller that's willing to sell them the home. And so, I mean, here's the thing. At 2.5%, are you no longer marketing to sellers?
I'm looking on the MLS and I'm looking at FISBOs, but I'm not mailing individual letters out to sellers that are not on the market.
Have you run this game plan yet with anybody?
One. It took me an hour to get through the doggone presentation.
How did the y'all act like an hour is a long time?
Well, it felt like a long time.
I just want you to know how many people here spent over an hour with me to get on this call. Every fucking hand goes up in the air. Woo! Jill was 2 hours. And you're asking for a lot more out of them than I asked out of you. Think about that. And we have a 3-pillar process here. We have a portal, we have calls, and we have accountability. There is no negotiations. There is no contracts. There are no inspections. There are no appraisals. There is no financing, right? There is no contract to close. It's a one-day, here's your, right? I want you guys to realize that spending an hour with somebody is the bare minimum you should do if you want them to actually trust you on what you say. I don't, Jill, I'm not calling you out. I want you guys to realize that we think an hour is a long time for a buyer because we have been trained by the industry that buying a home is easy. It's an Instagram picture with a key, but it's not. Just so you guys know, I fly a lot, unfortunately or fortunately. And I got to get on 2 planes today and tomorrow. They're going to spend 7 minutes talking about buckling your seatbelt. Don't put the mask on top of the mask for the oxygen. Put the mask on yourself first. There's 4 exits here, 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 and here. Go to the exit closest to you. Don't take your personal belongings if there's an accident. Get your ass off the plane. And they're going to spend 6 minutes talking about that. And that's pretty basic because I fly a lot. But if I didn't fly a lot, that would be a lot of like really important information. How to buckle your seatbelt, how to unbuckle the seatbelt, because it's different. We shouldn't look at an hour-long presentation as a long time. We should look at an hour-long information session about how we're going to find them the seller, how we're going to help them offer, strategize. What are the pricing strategies that a seller can take when they list their home, right? What happens once we're in agreement? What happens with an appraisal and inspection, right? Going through the different agreement pieces, right? The purchase and sale agreement. Some of you guys have 10, 12, 15-page purchase and sale agreements. Chicago's a 13-page purchase and sale agreement. I'm like, wow. When I sold real estate, I just have one big X on all the pages. I'm like, here's the first page. Here's our terms. No inspection. Earnest money's hard. Here's $1 billion. Can we please have an opportunity to buy the home? Inspection waived. Disclosures waived. Like, that's how we wrote offers in Seattle. That wasn't the norm, but I figured out, like, hey, if they already did a pre-inspection, why do we need to do 3 more inspections? Like, let's go in guns blazing. And we crossed out so much stuff on the agreement. So our buyers were hard, right? They were hard at the time of purchase. Things that are just being explained now in the industry, we were doing 12 years ago. Your level of preparation will set you up for everything else. So like, I would say run your stuff, Jill, but like, if you come to me with a menu, I'm going to feel really weird. Like, it's just a weird thing for me. I know some agents do it, but it's going to feel really weird. I would have a really hard time pitching a menu because I don't know what to take out. And then like, so what if I say this to you, Jill, since we're doing objection handling, what if I say this to you? Well, Jill, shouldn't you be finding me all the houses in the seller's universe and not just the houses that are easy to find?
Well, so what I would say, Vikram, is there are different needs for different people.
Yep.
And if you want a search that is the basic for seller owners and MLS, and we'll go and look at those homes.
Okay.
And this is the value of my time. But if you want me to go and mail out to specific neighborhoods,
okay,
and try to find sellers,
but I mean,
that at
if
this point
somebody,
aren't even selling their home,
if somebody
but
like,
may be interested when we put that letter.
but if
then
somebody
we wanna
was
dig
to,
deeper.
but if somebody was to like want to sell their home, wouldn't it benefit you too though, Jill? Like, wouldn't you get the benefit of that as well?
Yes, I do get the benefit of that.
And so like,
Sure.
if you market your house, right? If you market yourself and you market your services and like, it's not, can you guys see that clearly? That's blurry, isn't it? It's not blurry? Okay. So the first thing we did was we didn't follow the formula.
I
DH,
haven't got there yet.
that's
I'm not
okay.
there
We're
yet in the module.
that's why we're here, dear. So DHIS, right? So what does the D stand for?
I can't see that.
Can you guys see that? Or do I need to share my screen?
It's my vision.
Oh, okay. I understand. I'm right there with you with that vision thing.
Yeah, remember you called me old at the last one of these we had, so.
God, I would never do that.
You did.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with old. Let's see. See, I'm old too. I can't even find it now. Anybody else? Anybody else's computer look like this? Like you have more stuff open than you can even imagine? Okay, let's go back over here and find it. So the first thing is what? And the DHIS is what? So when we get an objection, what's the first thing we need to do? There it is. What do we do? Becca, I need more money from you. Can I run your black card? Hey, what are we looking at over here? Oh, that Fort Lauderdale house. Yeah, that's nice. Soon. First thing we do is we disarm the prospect. So Jill, right? Phil, when somebody says something to you like, well, hey, I mean, if you're willing to work for 2% and you say, well, that's just not what I'm willing to do. It's like, I need to show you, like, my time is worth so much more. The minute you put mine, who is the focus on? Is that how you guys want to operate? Because the minute you put the focus on yourself, you became a salesperson. You've lost the advisor tag. Now, in a conversation like this, I can be real with you all. But in a sales conversation, we don't talk much about ourselves. So the first thing you say is, hey, yeah, that's a great question. Hey, yeah, no worries. We can definitely discuss that. Hey, like I can, it might make sense for you. It might not make sense for you. Right? We have to figure out what is our disarming terminology when we talk to a prospect. If a prospect says, I don't want to pay a commission, and they're a buyer, then you all want to pay a commission? Like, let's be real. Let's take ourselves out of real estate for a second. If somebody says, hey, the house is that car's 10 grand, but you have to pay a $2,000 commission. Are you like, oh yes, hunky dory. Let me just go run onto the bank and get that money for you. Or are you like, no, you are all salespeople and you are the same way. Right? So the first thing we have to do is we have to put ourselves in the situation that these people are in. That's why a menu never felt good to me, because I'm either going to provide the service personally or I'm not. If I'm not going to provide it, then I'm just not going to do it. If I am going to provide it, I am going to do it. We did $24,000 listing videos. It was just part of our fee. And then we got fired on one of them. Like legit got fired. I was sitting in the middle of a freaking hurricane on a boat in the middle of the Pacific Sea for 3 days. And I got a text message, not even a phone call, a text message. Vic, you're fired. You put a hole in our wall. What? I didn't put a hole in your wall. Like, yeah, we saw a hole in our wall underneath the picture that your stager put up. You're fired. Guy lived in my building too. I saw him on Monday when I got back. What an awkward conversation that we didn't get to have. Hey, how you doing, man? Like super weird. I didn't go back and say, hey, by the way, you owe me $24,000 for the video. That was just part of our fee. Your business, your style. I'm just telling you from my perspective. But if you're going to have that you're going to get weird conversations, I'm sure, around it. Because I would ask, well, hey, Jill, I want the 4%. Like, I want to see all the inventory that's available. I mean, why can't you do this for me at 2.5%? I mean, that's still, let's say what's your average price, Jill? 6, 7, 800, 500, 400, 300, 200, 92,000.
400.
Okay. So that's still 10 grand. I mean, how much does it cost to send out some mailers? $1,000?
Yeah, not even that much. Probably about 500.
Well, I mean, if I just gave you the $500 extra, could you do that for me?
That's a great question, Vic. And we definitely will look at, now I've lost this. That's a great question, Vic.
Okay. So first step, disarm. So first step's disarm, right? You have to get me back neutralized. Second step, we need to humanize and isolate. Right? So what do they actually want? Right? So if I say to you, right, well, hey, Phil, like, I mean, you agreed to 2%. Let's just leave it at 2%. You're like, well, and you start going into, like, the minute anybody says, well, you know what's coming after that. It's a word vomit of diarrhea. That word salad that's going to come out is typically going to be, and when you guys do this, like, talk to salespeople. I pick up every telemarketing call. Every telemarketing call. Louisa, do I pick up every telemarketing call if I can? Literally, she's like, we have 4 minutes to get StreamYard up and running right now. And you're talking to Jeremy Minor salespeople. She's like, why do you do this to me? I'm like, we got plenty of time. We'll get it done. She's like, we need to find the stream key and the server key and this. I'm like, yeah, we'll get it done. And I'm sitting there with the guy on speakerphone, jamming out with the sales dude. Why? Because I'm a salesperson. I want to hear what the other people say, because guess what? Your prospect hears everything that they say because they take those calls all day long too. That's called market research. So the first thing you do is you disarm the person. Yeah, hey, yeah, no worries. We could totally discuss that. I guess I was curious. Right now we're going to humanize and isolate. What is their true objection? What are they actually asking for? Right? Jill, remember how you said at the beginning of the call, I'm so proud of you, that you said, hey, I slowed down. Like my old monkey brain wanted to take me down the path of like telling her what she needs to know. But my new brain was like, wait a minute, hold up. Everybody say hi to Louisa. My old brain was like, hold up. Oh, you can't see me. Your new brain was like, well, let me ask a couple of probing and clarifying questions. Let me see. Humanizing and isolating is the same thing, Jill. They're probing and clarifying questions. Why did they ask the question that they asked? Right? It's the same thing you just did earlier, right? But now it's in a little bit more of a high stress situation because now we're in like a commitment asking phase. So when we ask for a commitment, they go higher in anxiety, you go higher in anxiety. We want to keep that down low. We don't want word salads where we're just throwing things out. So you're going to be like, yeah, no worries. I guess I was curious. Can you walk me through kind of like what you meant by that? Well, yeah, I mean, like Jill, we don't want to get just what's available on the market. We want to get everything that's available. So like if there's a way to find a home that's, out there, like we want to find it. And we're not against you earning a living, right? We get you got to earn money for the work you're doing. And you went through that whole spiel that nobody's ever walked us through. We had no idea all the different nuances of buying a home in today's market were. The negotiation strategies, like how to look at pricing strategies, how to look at market dynamics, right? Contracts and closings and all. We had no idea there was that nuanced. We literally thought we'd just write an offer, but our last agent really sucked. So we don't really think that it's worth $15,000 for our last agent, but for what you do, like we're happy that you make a lot of money. Wait, they're not done yet, right? This is where you guys have to listen. And here's where they're going to hit you with the truth. But right now, Jill, with the prices of homes, right? The price of freaking milk and eggs, we got 3 kids. Like it's $1,000 a week to feed them. They're all football players and they bring their friends over, which we want them to do. That's why we want the bigger home so that we can have the kids at our house instead of the kids going to other people's houses. We just don't have the extra money to afford the bigger home, the down payment, the monthly utilities, the car, the food, and pay you 20 grand. So is there something that we can do so that we can still get all of the things that are available, like you mentioned, but not have to pay $16,000 to $20,000 if the agent is not agreeable or the seller is not agreeable to that amount? Because we were told in the past that sellers pay anywhere from a 1% to a 3%. So like, did you not do that stuff prior for your buyers? Well, no, I did it before. Oh, right. Do you see how like when we slow down, they speed up and tell us everything? So now it's not about them not wanting you to get a paycheck. What is it? they can't afford the house, the down payment, the monthly expenses, and everything else. Doesn't your heart sink a little bit right now if they said that to you? Like, Jill, didn't your heart sink a little bit? You're like, damn, of course I can send out some flyers for you for five. They're 32 cents a pop. Like, I got this for you guys. I'll send out 1,000 on your behalf. Absolutely. I'll go knock on some doors. I'll make some phone calls. Anybody else feel a little different when you actually hear what the buyer's concerns are? See, we're so fast in the world of sales. We're so fast to shut the other person down. But when you shut them down, you shut down all communication. You shut down the hearts from connecting. And when the hearts disconnect, now they need to think about it. Because if I'm going to spend more than what the news has ever told me that an agent's ever made, but can I give you another perspective, Jill? Because I like bonuses. I like bonuses. Right? And again, this is all attorney talk because I don't know the legalities. But when we used to sell houses, if we got over a certain dollar amount, I got a bonus. Some of those bonuses were big, like 20 grand. Commissions were like 30 and the bonus was 20. That's like 2%. So those are like 5% listings. Seller was happy and I was happy. So it's like, hey, if we can find you an off-market deal, would you be willing to pay a bonus? Right? Because my team, like I have hard fixed costs for that. Like I have to actually pay people to do these things. So if we're able to find you something off market, right, depending on what the seller pays, would you be willing to pay a bonus? Now, I don't know the legalities here, y'all. I'm just giving you ideas. That's all my job is to give you ideas, and you guys got to figure out the gray. Would you be willing to pay a bonus? Well, I guess it just depends on the price and the terms. Yeah. What are you talking about? Well, I want to find you everything. And I don't want to charge you anything more than what I would charge most people and what most people are comfortable paying and what most sellers are comfortable paying. But if we can find you something off market, right? Would you be willing to pay a $2,000 bonus? It's a 0.5%. 0.5% add up at the end of the year. Just a different perspective, y'all. They feel really good. You feel really good. They know exactly what the cap is. You know exactly the extra you're going to make. So you go spend $1,000 and you get a free $1,000. And a lot of the work you can do, you can have a junior associate do, right? The circle prospecting script. But if we don't do the DHIS, if we don't do that, then we're not giving the person the opportunity to talk. And we're shutting them down. So we first thing we do is we slow down, disarm them. What's another objection you guys get? Jill, was that helpful? You can still, you could still do your menu. You could still do your menu. I'm not telling you how to run your business. I'm just saying, slow down about what you're doing on the perspective side. Just slow it down a little bit when they give you an objection on it, and be prepared that they're not going to be super excited about a 4% for you sending out mailers and doing the work that they assume that you should be doing anyways. Just be super prepared.
Yeah, and the goal actually is to get that middle number, which is when there's a lower number and a higher number, because most people will choose the middle number.
You're doing the popcorn. You're doing the popcorn. $4 for the small, $5 for a medium, $8 for a large. Well, of course, you're going to go with the medium because it makes sense, right? And we'll give you one free refill. So, of course, you're going to take the medium because the price differential is so low, right? It's just a psychology. Practice it and see how it feels. What's another objection you guys got? Nothing else? Go for it, Becca.
I've been getting hung up on a lot.
Is that on the phone?
That's never happened to me before. I mean, not never. It had happened to me in the beginning, and then I started working with you, and now it's happening more.
Okay, what are you doing?
I don't know. It must be not. I must be being too, like, I think I'm trying to be too efficient or something. And I think what it is sometimes I'm driving and it's just, I'm not in that right space to have these conversations.
Who's calling you? What kind of leads?
I call the leads.
While you're driving?
Yeah.
On a first call?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's like a second call. Depends.
I'd hang up on you too.
Not those people don't hang up on you, just the first call people.
Yeah, I'd hang up on you too. What's the psychology you're telling them?
I keep saying, how are you doing? Instead of actually giving them like something to respond to.
Right. But I hear the car in the background.
I mean, I guess I know the problem is like, don't do it in the, like, I promised myself that I was not going to be doing sales calls in the car. And then this last week I did them. So I guess I'm just telling myself.
I mean, that's not a buyer objection. That is 100% just a process broken. Right. Because you're not in the right state of mind. You're falling back on your old sword. Right. Your tonality's off. The noise is weird. You're telling a prospect, you're not important enough for me to be in a stationary spot to have a conversation. You have zero importance. How do you take notes while you're driving? You can't.
Yeah. No.
My brother stopped talking to my old life coach because the guy didn't take any notes. And I paid for the guy I paid for my brother to go 5 sessions. After the second one, he's like, the guy doesn't take any notes. How does he actually remember what we talked about? He's like, you can go use your sessions. I'm like, okay. Like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, the guy I don't feel like I matter to the guy. If he has 15 clients, like how is he going to remember my shit that I'm going through? And I don't want to repeat it back because it's hard enough to say it the first time. So I would try. And then obviously, you know, when you call somebody, you're like, hey, how are you? What do you think every salesperson asks?
How are you?
There you go. You guys, I'm telling you, like, take calls from your, like, literally, I'll show you. Like, I'm not kidding here. Like, literally, this guy, Independence. Oh, don't want to call him back. This guy's gonna blow me up. Independence, Ohio. We had a 1 minute talk, right? 1 minute talk.
Mm-hmm.
I would have talked to him longer, but I had to get here with you guys. I would have talked to him longer. I have no problem talking to salespeople. They don't bug me. They don't irritate me. I'm a salesperson. I do the same exact thing they do. So salespeople don't bug me. They don't irritate me. So what's another objection? One more before we got to bounce. Yep, go for it. Spit it out.
Going through potentially using a friend's previous realtor.
Yeah.
Rather than somebody like me.
Yep.
Like, someone they know of.
Yep.
Rather than,
So, hey, we're thinking about interviewing other agents. Essentially, we're interviewing another agent, or we want to use another agent, something like that.
I guess I'll tweak it a little bit. They were already planning on using somebody, and then I happened to just
show up,
circumstantially come in.
Okay. So a great presentation will show you that will show them that you're different. So the first thing is my presentation different, right? When you guys learn your presentations, you also get to utilize buyer and seller universes, pricing strategy, offer strategy, right? You get to start to utilizing these different tactics, contract to close processes, right? This is our playbook for, you know, did they walk you through what like the 3 agreements that govern all real estate transactions are? Oh, they didn't do that? Oh, okay. Did they talk about the compensation models for a buyer's agent in today's market? No. Okay. Yeah, that could be a little problematic. Don't start talking about it. Book the appointment. Where we get stuck is we want to talk about it on the phone. No, 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 no. That's a conversation that you're a lose, lose, lose on. You got to get belly to belly, eye to eye, whether it be a Zoom call or it be a handshake. I don't like Zoom calls. In a buying and selling situation for real estate, I don't like Zoom calls. I do Zoom calls because I live in South America and you all live somewhere else. But if you were here in my country, I would try to sit down with you for a cup of coffee at my favorite coffee shop. And it's not Starbucks. It's a local jam where everybody knows my name. Because they're like, wow, you come here frequently? Yeah, I like to support the people. And they elevate your status instantly because they're like, everybody loves you. Ah, you know it, Tiffany. No, I have a new crush. I have a new crush. Girl, I forgot about at the gym. I have a new crush. So when they say that to you, yeah, hey man, like Phil, that might be a right. You guys disarming. Yeah, that might be a good option. I'm curious though. Can I maybe give you a slightly different perspective and then yeah, we can come up with a game plan or I can let you go on your way? Nobody wants to role play? Phil, role play.
All right, so, I mean, the way you put it, I didn't know if it was an opening for a role play or it was a statement, so.
Yeah. So, hey man, like it might be beneficial for you to go. It might be a good idea for you to use the other agent. I'm not sure. I guess, would it be cool if we could come up with like another perspective and then maybe a game plan and a strategy?
You know what, man? I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
Honestly, like my sister had a
Yeah.
really good experience.
Sure.
With her agent. So
Sure.
I was thinking, that's probably going to be a better fit for us anyway. So
Why do you feel like it? Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Like, if that's what you decide, that's all good with me. Like, I know I kind of snuck in here in the last second trying to steal home base. What's really important for you about, the purchase of your home?
Well, we just saved up everything we could
Yeah.
to get into the market.
Right.
And we were starting to get in, and
Yeah.
I just happened to see my boy Josue.
Right.
And I told him that I was kind of sort of shocked at the 3 to 5% that
Right.
The other person quoted.
Right.
And he said, well, give you a call. So
Right.
I mean, as far as
What do you mean? What do you mean you were
that's a whole
shocked?
different-
What do you mean you were shocked about? What part were you shocked about?
Well, like, I guess the rules have changed, right?
They have.
So the other agent told.
Have you done a buyer have you
done?
done a buyer presentation for him
We
already?
had so you're asking me a question, right?
Did you do a buyer consultation with him?
No, this is off the rip on the phone.
Yeah.
Only calling you, hey, bro,
Yeah.
what's the deal? This
Yeah.
3 to 5% for
Yeah.
zero or what?
I mean,
Oh my
dude,
God,
there's
what are we talking
there's
about?
hold on. I got you. Hold up. Helping you out here. Gotta go.
Situation.
Yeah. No, I got it. Hey, so did anybody walk you through like the 4 different compensation models that are going on now that the rules have changed? Has anybody walked you through like all the different it sounds like you got a lot of questions around things. Has anybody actually sat down to walk you through any of that stuff yet?
No.
Okay. Yeah. That could be a little problematic. And I know we just kind of got connected out of the blue, bro, but I guess if you'd find it, like if you're not opposed as a next step, we could put some time aside on both of our calendars and I can actually walk you through what compensation models are out there and like what's going on in the marketplace so that you can make the best decision for you based off of your goals. Would you find that helpful if we could actually do that for you?
Yeah, man, but
okay.
Honestly,
yeah. And
I
what,
just feel like I already
yeah.
told my sister that we
Yeah.
wanted to work with her agent.
Sure. Hey man,
So,
it's cool, dude. Like no sweat off my back. I mean, I guess if they charge 5% though, like, are you going to be able to afford 5%? on top
No,
of,
I definitely can.
Yeah.
So based on what you just told me.
Yeah,
The
so-
seller
so-
can possibly pay for that, right?
bro, I don't have a lot of time to talk right now. I actually got to jump into another meeting.
Okay.
So if you feel like it'd be beneficial, what we could do is we could put some time aside on our calendars where we can go grab a coffee. Got a nice little spot right up the street. And I'll walk you through exactly what the new rules are, which it sounds like the other person hasn't done. So you know exactly what questions to ask. And if you decide to work with them, dude, all good. And if you decide you want another opinion, great, all good. Where should we go from here, man?
Yeah, just shoot me a text, bro, and then we can like maybe find some time or whatnot.
Yeah, well, it's just easier to do it this way. That way I don't have to chase you and you don't have to chase me, vice versa. You got your calendar handy? Like what works better for you guys? Are you more morning, afternoon, weekends?
It's a decision with my wife too. And she
Yeah.
works and I get a different
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah, so what?
shoot me a text, bro. We'll get together.
Cool. I'm not going to follow up with you.
Okay.
Like I'm like this person, I'm just not going to follow up with because I have too many other people that want to talk to me. But I guarantee you, if you're getting that much pushback, you're not following the ultimate appointment booking framework because we don't have an overarching goal, right? So I can't lock into the overarching goal. I don't have time to go into that right now, but you need to go watch the quick win module again.
Yeah, but I think the misstep from the beginning was that this was like an ad hoc.
They're all ad hoc, homie.
Check my information.
Right. Go watch the portal. Quick win module number 2.
Okay. All right.
Go watch it again. Go watch it again. Because what you need to do is you need to slow the conversation down. Trust me, dude. I've done it. All my clients are Indian. All of them want a good deal. Every single one of them. It doesn't matter. What I'm telling you is like, go get the overarching goal of why he's even moving, because you need to slow the conversation down. And once you have the overarching goal of why he wanted to move, then the commissions don't matter as much. And then you could just lock it in. So yeah, man, like, so if we don't get you the home that you want, like if, let's say they're charging this crazy amount, they didn't even walk you through the process and you don't get your kids into the new school district. I mean, is that going to have any impact on your family? And then you can hit them with the consequence question. Well, yeah, it would. How so? But if we don't have an overarching goal because you went into a word salad and you're just trying to like, no, man, that's not how it works. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, we got to slow the conversation down. We got to follow the process. We got to stick the OBD2 computer monitor in there. We got to figure out what their overarching goal is, probe and clarify, game plan frame. Right? But if this person's that adamant that they're going to go with the other person, and you're not going to win them all. I'm just going to be like, cool, bro. Good luck. If things don't work out with your other agent, right? Like I'll shoot you a text, but it sounds like I'm going to pull it away. It sounds like this isn't something that really is important to you right now. So if it is important after you talk to your wife, I'll shoot you a text with my contact. You can get back to me. And I'm just going to let this one go. Personally, that's me, because I don't want to chase that kind of energy in my world. I'm just going to go find somebody that wants to sit down and have a conversation with me because we had a better conversation. But if you're always trying to overpower, right? If that person's always overpowering, like what you did to me, that's not going to be the relationship that I want, because they're never going to listen to me in the process. And when I tell them what to do to write an offer to win, they're going to be like, nah, that's not how we roll, because they've already showed you dominance that they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah, but the problem, I think the premise here that we're missing is that they were pulled into this conversation by a third party, like a friend.
Yeah.
That literally persuaded them into it.
Overarching goal. You always go back to your process, homie. So, hey man, like I get John pulled you in and it's a fucking weird situation. Like I'm fucking weirded out by it too, man. This is crazy, but I appreciate you, John. I guess what's got you even looking at houses in the first place? Well, I'm just curious about commissions. Well, yeah, I mean, commissions are important, but you always go back to your process, because your process won't fail you. Ad hoc conversations like that will. Because you're going to talk about commissions and the process and this and that. And then he's going to be like, oh, I'm even more confused. A confused mind stalls. You don't get the appointment. Did you get the appointment with this guy? Probably not.
No.
There you go. Go back to quick module number 2. I got to go, guys. I'll see you next week. These people just don't fucking want to learn.
So I think you just look you up in your account, and the one you have it asking for too much information.
Can you open the door? Por favor.
Which door?
That one. It's so hot.
So I guess we just need to log in again to this one. And then we'll